way before the sunlight makes the sky. Catching a bow on a homemade hopper makes my day complete. Oh, there's magic in the rise, and I'm going fishing in the morning, gotta catch the early light. I'm going fishing for a feeling I get when the fish bite.
The fly and the way that we land fish. So we thought we'd take a little bit of time and walk you through some of the basic knots you'll need to know to make your time on the stream a little more efficient. The first one we're going to show you is a knot that you tie to the fly. The easiest one, I think, is called a clinch knot. We're going to start with a nice large streamer so it's easy to see in some colored line, and thread the line right through the hook. Then we're going to take this tag end of the line and wrap it around the main line. On very thin tippet, 5 or 6 turns will usually do the trick. The thinner the tippet, the more turns you need, the thicker the less you need. In this case, I'm only going to do 4 or 5. Then we're going to take the tag end and put it through the very first loop that we've created closest to the eye of the hook. At this point, you simply hold on to that tag end and pull on the knot. As you draw it up, you'll see that it's a very simple knot, and you can see how the loops tighten up. From there, we simply trim the tag end, and you have a finished clinch knot. Very simple, very easy, and really quite a good knot.
The next knot we're going to learn is the uni knot. The great thing about a uni knot is its versatility. Learning one knot will allow you to tie on a fly, tie 2 lines together, or even tie a leader to a fly line or to backing. So to start with, again, we're going to take the leader, tip it, and thread it through the eye of the hook. We're going to align the tag end with the main line with about 6 inches overlapping. Then we'll take the tag end and make a loop underneath the main line, and take the tag end through that loop for smaller diameter tippets up to 6 times, and for larger diameter maybe 3 or 4 times. Here we'll go through 4 times, take the tag end, pull it taut, get those wraps to form, moisten it, and then tighten down. The last thing you need to do, trim off the tag. You're ready to fish.
The next knot we'd like to show you is a double surgeons. I'm going to get rid of this blood knot to start. And the double surgeons is another line-to-line connection, arguably the simplest of the knots. So we're going to start by having a head-on collision. These two will end up running right along parallel to each other. The more we overlap them, the easier the knot becomes because we can make a large loop, but we end up with more waste that way. So when you're learning it, leave yourself 5 or 6 inches at the least, and as you get better at it, you can do it with shorter amounts, 3 or 4 inches. But basically, we've got a doubled line. We're going to create a loop with the line and pinch it. Now what I'm going to do is take the tag end and the tippet that I'm going to add and run it through the loop twice. It's pretty simple, except that when I created this loop, if I go through this way, I've undone half of a wrap. So I need to continue going the same direction. So I bring it around and both tag end and tip it through once. Bring it around the second time, both tag end and tip it through twice. Pull on all 4. You have a simple double surgeons knot. We then trim the tags.
Next, Lance is going to show us what, Lance?
The blood knot.
Nice.
Blood is a very popular knot to use. It's very strong. Probably a little bit more difficult than the uni or the surgeon's knot, but it's a knot I really have a lot of confidence in. We start by taking tag ends in both hands. It looks like this. I take the yellow line, place it behind the pink, and then take this tag end and wrap it around the pink line. Again, more turns on thinner diameter material, less turns on thicker diameter material. So I'm going to do about 4 turns, then take this tag end and put it through this little Y I've created. Then I'm going to pinch that right there and hold it in place. Next, I'm going to take the pink tag end and wrap it around the yellow line. Generally the same amount of turns with similar diameter. If you're connecting different diameters, you can change that. so that we had, in this case, my pink's a little bit thinner than my yellow, so I'm going to add an extra wrap of pink. Next, I'm going to take that pink line and put it through the same opening that my yellow line is going through. So I now have lines coming in and out of the same hole. At this point, you hold on to both tag ends and just pull on the main lines. You don't pull on the tag ends, simply pull on the main lines and you have a simple blood knot. To connect to the fly line, we need to do a trusty old nail knot. We're going to use a handy little tool called the tie fast to do this. It makes tying a nail knot very, very easy. We're going to start with the butt end of our tapered leader, and we're going to run it right down the center of the tool. Extend about 5 or 6 inches out the end of the tool because we need to have enough of a tag end to wrap around the tool. We start by wrapping at the base and running right up the tool, generally about 5 or 6 turns. More if you need a little stronger connection, but if you get too many turns, it gets very difficult to cinch it up. So we have those wraps in place. I've got my finger holding them there. Now I'm going to take the tag in and take it right down the center of the tool. So now I have line coming out both ends of the tool. At this point, we simply take our fly line and run it right up the center as well. Then I'm going to get our trusty forceps, grab hold of the tag end, and just pull all of these loops right off onto the fly line. At that point, you give it a little tug, cinch it up, and we trim the tags and you have a trusty nail knot.
So now that we have the nail knot complete, we have the leader or the butt section to the fly line, now we're going to work on a perfection loop. And a perfection loop we can use, or any kind of a loop we can use to connect a loop that would be at the end of the fly line to a loop that's in the rest of the leader, which will give us a loop-to-loop connection. Gives us a quick and easy replacement of another leader so that we're not cutting the fly line. So to do that, we'll start by making a loop. To begin the perfection loop, we make a small loop in the end of the leader. This would be the butt section of the leader. We'll make one wrap, a somewhat loose wrap, around the base of that loop. And then we'll make a second wrap between those two loops. Now this is the key part. We need to pull the second loop that we made, that loose second loop, through this larger first loop. To do that, it's often easier if we use some kind of a tool. Here I'm going to use the end of a bobbin. I'm going to grab that loop, pull it through, and tighten it up. Now, simply trim the tag end, and we can do a loop-to-loop connection. To do the loop-to-loop connection, we'll put one loop over the top of the other and pull the tag end through the first loop, bring the knot through, and pull them tight. Well, Lance, we've learned quite a few knots, right? We've learned the nail knot to tie the butt section to the fly line. We've learned a loop-to-loop connection. We learned different ways to tie on flies. There's a ton of different flies out there, but I think we've given the basic knots that you can use for almost any situation.